we're talking to Sammy after you, and I'm just wondering. You guys talk a lot about what he does that maybe doesn't show up in the numbers. I'm wondering if you could offer just some examples of what he does for you guys, and how key was it to get him back this offseason?
I mean, it was extremely important. I mean, to have someone of his caliber who really goes out there and plays well every single week, and like you said, I mean, he does so many things well. Obviously, he catches the ball well. He scores for us, makes a lot of plays after contact. But also, I mean, just as far as blocking or running the routes hard and getting other guys open. I mean, in this offense, it takes every single person, and I think you saw that when the playoffs and his number got called, he made big plays happen, and so. It's a guy that we love having back, and that's going to really help our offense continue to progress and get better.
Let's go to Mick Schaefer. Go ahead, Mick.
Hey, Patrick, I was just wondering, I think we've talked to you since you purchased part of the Royals. I'm just wondering where the idea to make that happen came from. Was it a lifelong dream? And did you have the idea first, or was it Travis going with the Mets there?
I don't know who had the idea first, but it was something where obviously I love baseball. I grew up in clubhouses, and I love everything about it. And whenever the Royals got bought last year by the Shermans, I mean, I wanted to be a part of it. It took a little bit of time. I mean, those things take time, so it took almost a year to get all the language right and doing it at the right timing with everything going on in the world, obviously. But we were able to do it, and they were able to let me join in with them and be a part of something that's going to be long-term and in Kansas City for a long time.
Let's go to Adam Teicher. Go ahead, Adam.
Hey, Pat, how you doing today?
Doing good.
Good. Hey, just curious, over the last 2 years, what type of teammate Sammy Watkins has been, and maybe if you have a story or two that can illustrate what we're talking about here.
I mean, he's been a great teammate. I mean, he's been someone that since day one has joined in at that receiver room. I mean, it's probably the one that of the D-line is probably the most fun room you could probably be in this locker room. And he's been someone that's been a leader in that room and someone that's got along with everybody. I mean, we as the quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, and tight ends and guys, we go usually, well, probably not this year, but we go usually out to eat with the families, the girlfriends, and we kind of just all hang out and eat dinner, and sometimes go chicken and pickle, play pickleball, whatever it is. And so we all have great relationships in that room, in the whole offensive and defensive room. That's what makes this team so special.
Let's go to Matt McMullen. Go ahead, Matt.
Hey, Patrick. So we all know on draft night, Clyde was your guy. You've been working virtually all offseason with him, but to finally have him in the facility, you get to know him a little bit. What are your first impressions of Clyde?
Yeah, first impressions, I mean, he's a hard worker. I think that's the first thing that you can see from day one. He's always wanting to learn more. He's wanting to get in every single rep they let him in, and he's someone that it's gotten better every single day. And so I'm excited to have him and adapt him and involve him more and more in the offense. And as he learns more, he'll be able to progress and have more success every single day.
Let's go to Therese Paylor. Go ahead, Therese. Therese, you got us?
Yep, I'm good. Thank you. Hey, Patrick, how you doing today?
Doing good.
Hey, I think it's notable that you took a step of buying a team, because we've seen a lot of big names in sports do that. He's buying a piece of a team, right? LeBron says he wants to. Michael Jordan already has his own team. In the long term, and I know this is over a decade away, like I got it. You got a lot you want to accomplish right now. But in the long term, is there any part of you that's already thought about, okay, I want to own a team fully one day in one of these sports? And has The Last Dance had any impact on you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I've thought about that long of fully owning a team or whatever aspect that is, but I'm obviously very interested in all sports and being a part of sports, even when hopefully a long time from now my sports days are over and I haven't nailed where that's going to be at. But I want to be a part of sports for the rest of my life because it's given so much to me as far as obviously on the field, but also off of it, being able to have a platform to go out there and be a better person every single day.
Let's go to Harold Kuntz. Go ahead, Harold.
Hey, Patrick. Hope you're doing good, man. Hey, my question to you about you mentioned voter registration and the discussions you had with the team, and you mentioned you had your own struggles with it, just registering and then checking back on it and seeing that, you weren't in the system. What's your advice for people that, are trying to register and trying to go through that process as well, and taking your experience from that and telling them that, hey, this is important, this needs to be done, but you need to follow steps to go through it?
Yeah, I mean, my advice is that first find as much information from whoever you think the best person is to find information from. Get as much information on it. Make sure you're following the steps the right way. And then once, kind of in my scenario, once you do go out there and you do what you think you're registered and however you were taught and however you kind of went through the steps, to make sure you check on that and make sure that everything's is done the right way. And then I would say after that, spread the information. I mean, spread the word around. Make sure you can get as many people registered as possible, because that's how people can show their voice in this nation.
Let's go to Len Jennings. Go ahead, Len.
Hey, Patrick. Thanks for joining us. Tomorrow marks the 1 month. We're a month away from kickoff of the season. I'm sure this month can fly by. How are you kind of balancing everything that's happening in the news with COVID and preparing for a season? And secondly, your thoughts on the Tyreek McCole-Hardman race?
Yeah, first off, I mean, I think the biggest thing you have to do in all of 2020 is just try to make sure you accept every challenge of the next day. You just really, every morning you wake up knowing that you're going to go in with an open mind, prepared for whatever comes your way. And so for me, I mean, that's kind of how an athlete has to prepare for every single day, every practice, every meeting, whatever it is. And so I'm going to do that. I'm going to continue to do that. Every single day I wake up, it's a blank slate. I'm going to go out there, attack it, be the best person, athlete, or whatever it is that day. And hopefully that we keep going good as far as football facility, and as a nation, we try to progress and get to the other side of this. And then the Tyreek and McCole race, I mean, obviously both the guys are super fast. I'm just lucky to have both of them. I think Tyreek got the first one, but I'm gonna try to keep him from racing anymore. I'd rather them just run down the sideline scoring touchdowns during the game week.
All right, guys, we have time for a few more. We're gonna go Nate, Pete, and then Danny to close us out. Go ahead, Nate.
Thanks again for doing this, Patrick. We just got through talking with Andy, and I'm interested from your perspective as a quarterback, having maybe a couple new offensive linemen to start the year, with Clyde not having any preseason games. What do you feel like you and the office need to get most out of these padded practices that are coming up to prepare yourselves for whatever situations you're going to see when the regular season starts?
Yeah, kind of like I said earlier, I think you just have to take advantage of every single rep that you have. If that's in the meeting room, if that's on the field, or if that's in practice, that's in a walkthrough, whatever that is, you have to take advantage of it, knowing that you're not getting those preseason games. You have to, practices are going to mean that much more. And I think Coach Reed does a good job of that. I mean, he's going to put us in situations that are going to be game-like situations. He'll try to prepare us for every single situation that we could encounter during the game. And then once you do get that one situation that might not be practiced, making sure you know what you need to do. And so I think having those new guys and kind of setting the example of how we practice and how we play, I think those guys will follow right in, and they'll kind of take that standard to there as well. And so I'm excited for the opportunity to go out and keep continuing to move forward and progressing and getting to that next step of getting the pads on and then getting to the season, obviously.
Go ahead, Pete Sweeney.
Hey, Pat, thanks. Was curious first, your initial impressions of the guard Osimile, and then if you would, I was just curious, as you're getting ready for the season, I know you've done the workouts that you have on the high school fields with your receivers, but what's been the greatest challenge for you with this unique offseason of like getting where you need to be, feeling mentally ready for the year?
Yeah, I mean, first off, with Osimile and Rimmers, both those guys are big. They're big and strong, and they're smart. And I think that's the three things that you need to have when you come in to play in this offense. And so, Kelechi, I mean, when he shook my hand my first time, I had to hey, man, easy a little bit, man. I mean, just how big and strong that guy is. And so I'm excited to have them. They're learning, obviously, this offense quickly and progressing quickly. It's good about having veteran guys like that. But I'm excited for that competition in that room just to bring the best out of everybody. And then what would you say the second part of your question one more time?
You got on.
Yeah, got it. No, I was just curious, as you're getting ready for the season, I know one of the things you did was you go to the high school fields with the receivers, but I was curious, what else has been like the greatest challenge in getting mentally ready for this year that's coming up quick?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the uncertainty of every single day coming in and not knowing exactly the routine that you always have been accustomed to. But I think it's a good challenge to have. It's dealing with adversity early in the season, early even in the off season, and trying to accept that and try to come out better on the other side. And so I think it's going to be challenging for everybody in this league. But I'm excited for the challenge to try to go out there and show the world that we can do this the right way if we do it the safe way.
Let's go to Danny to close us out. Go ahead, Danny.
Normally this week would be one that you guys would be preparing for a preseason game or a game and kind of getting in that mindset, that mode. At this point in training camp, which has been very weird, how different is it compared to what you've done in years past, and where do you guys feel like you are compared to years past?
First, I gotta get you a Texas Tech hat or something. The thing with where we're at now versus last year, I feel like a lot of the guys are still in physically the shape that they were in, or even better shape. I think guys really took it upon themselves during this quarantine time to keep their bodies in shape, and so that was, I don't want to say surprising to see, but that was good to see, exciting to see when you come into camp and everybody is right where we left off at. So now it's about the mental part of it. I mean, when you get these reps, I mean, it's hard to reenact these reps on Zoom meetings. So as these guys are getting more and more reps and we're putting in all these new plays, I think the coaches are doing a good job of really emphasizing the details of every single play, that so that when we hit the field on that Thursday night that we can play fast and play chief football.